Hey, what's up everybody, it's Osi. I don't know how many more parts I'll be making here in this series, unless there's like a lockdown or something like that put into effect in my area. I only mention that because there was a case at the hospital here in my town, in Seminole County, Florida. I just wanted to share some information with you guys, with everyone, hoping that you all will share it with everyone that you know. We have a woman that speaks about these kinds of infectious viruses and whatnot, and she gives a talk on what her opinion of it is, and I just wanted to share that with y'all because I thought it was important. And in case you didn't already see this talk, here it is. The best tool we can use is that share button, because we really can't run from it and we can't hide from it, and a lot of people are going to be okay, but as we can see, a lot of people aren't. You know, and people say, oh, it's only 5,000 or 6,000 people. Well, that's a lot of heartache. All those people have family. All those people have loved ones. We should care about them too. Well, now it's happening in the town that I live in. Right down the street from where I live. I can see the hospital from when I walk out my door, where the cases were tested from. Just prepare yourself and your loved ones, because it's not just the health threat, it's the economic threat as well. Prepare yourself, my friends, my loved ones. We can make a difference. But we must speak up.
So tonight, like every night on this program, we will bring you facts without fear, without the politics of panic running rampant in the country. We're going to give you perspective and context and data and information.
So I've been working in global health for about 20 years, and my specific technical specialty is in health systems and what happens when health systems experience severe shocks. If we're ranking sources of global health expertise on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is some random person ranting on Facebook, and 10 is the World Health Organization. I'd say you can probably put me at like a 7 or an 8. So keep that in mind as I talk to you.
With the COVID-19 virus reaching more and more countries each day, it is possible that no corner of the world will be spared. Even as European health ministers prepare to meet on Friday, one infection was registered inside the European Council building itself. Not just towns and cities now, but the seats of governments and parliaments are in its path.
I'll start with the basics here, because I think that's gotten lost in some of the media noise around COVID-19.
But it's not the first time a disease of this nature has spread across the globe. It comes from a large family of viruses called coronaviruses. Some cause nothing more than a cold.
COVID-19 is known as a novel coronavirus because until December, we'd only heard of 6 coronaviruses. COVID-19 is the 7th. It's new to us. It just had its gene sequencing. It just got its name. That's why it's novel. If you remember SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome, or MERS, Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome, those were coronaviruses. And they're both called respiratory syndromes because that's what coronaviruses do. They go for your lungs. Coronaviruses are zoonotic, which means that they transmit from animals to people. Some coronaviruses, like COVID-19, also transmit person to person. The person-to-person ones travel faster and travel farther, just like COVID-19. Zoonotic illnesses are really hard to get rid of because they have an animal reservoir.
Makeshift tents to treat the sick, fighting for their lives and their dignity. One hospital reportedly receiving a new patient every 5 minutes. Experts warning Italy is still 2 weeks away from the outbreak's peak, as more than 60 million people are urged to stay at home.
Now for the less basic parts. This is not the last major outbreak we're ever going to see. There's going to be more outbreaks, and there's going to be more epidemics. That's not a maybe. That's a given. And it's a result of the way that we as human beings are interacting with our planet. Human choices are driving us into a position where we're going to see more outbreaks. But it's also about the way we're pushing into the last wild spaces on our planet.
Fires ravaging Brazil and its Amazon rainforest, spilling out into Bolivia, Paraguay, and Peru.
It's the scale of these fires that's absolutely huge. An unprecedented burn of a massive magnitude. We could be losing, in certain areas, as much as 3 soccer fields of jungle every single minute.
The collection of tens of thousands of blazes engulfing an area 2/3 the size of the continental United States, fires burning from the equivalent of Detroit to Los Angeles.
When we burn and plow the Amazon rainforest so that we can have cheap land for ranching, when the last of the African bush gets converted to farms, when wild animals in China are hunted to extinction, human beings come into contact with wildlife populations that they've never come into contact with before, and those populations have new kinds of diseases, bacteria, viruses, stuff we're not ready for.
It is believed that many of the fires were started by farmers trying to clear land. Environmentalists say Bolsonaro's seeming support for the development of the Amazon over environmental practices may have emboldened farmers to burn land.
We've seen a dramatic increase in deforestation in the Amazon recently, and it is driven by humans.
The so-called lungs of the earth, much of it now choked in flames.
We are talking about an estimated 10% of the world's global biodiversity. Well over 40,000 species, new ones being discovered every single day. That is all at risk.
Most of the fires are so remote, it requires hacking through the nearly impenetrable terrain just to reach them.
Going through this underbrush gives you a sense of why these fires are so hard to stop.
So as long as we keep making our remote places less remote, the outbreaks are going to keep coming. We can't stop the outbreaks with quarantine or travel restrictions. That's everybody's first impulse. Let's stop the people from moving. Let's stop this outbreak from happening.
Overnight, Disney, ABC's parent company, announcing they are closing Walt Disney World in Orlando and Disneyland Paris through the end of the month, following the earlier announcement of Disneyland in California closing Saturday.
We're dealing with the absolutely not only unforeseen and something on a level we have never seen in our lives.
Now to the unprecedented shutdown of virtually all professional and college sports.
The real world collided with the sports world, and in less than 24 hours, athletic competition around the country came to an unprecedented halt.
When you turn up to the game and there's no one around, yeah, that's unusual.
But it's about to become the new norm as the coronavirus shutdown kicks in, changing the way we live.
But the fact is, it's really hard to get a good quarantine in place. It's really hard to set up travel restrictions. Even the countries that have made serious investments in public health, like the US and South Korea, can't get that kind of restriction in place fast enough to actually stop an outbreak instantly. There's logistical reasons for that, and there's medical reasons. If you look at COVID-19, right now, it seems like it could have a period where you're infected and show no symptoms that's as long as 24 days. So people are walking around with this virus showing no signs. They're not going to get quarantined. Nobody knows they need quarantining. COVID-19 is going to be a huge burden on health systems. I'm not going to talk about death rates in this talk because frankly nobody can agree on the COVID-19 death rates right now. But one number we can agree on is that about 20% of people infected with COVID-19 are going to need hospitalization. Our US medical system can just barely cope with that. But what's going to happen in Mexico? COVID-19 has also revealed some real weaknesses in our global health supply chains. Just-in-time ordering, lean systems are great when things are going well. But in a time of crisis, what it means is we don't have any reserves. If a hospital or a country runs out of face masks or personal protective equipment, there's no big warehouse full of boxes that we can go to get more.
This is the most aggressive and comprehensive effort to confront a foreign virus in modern history.
With 116 countries hit by the virus, the World Health Organization hit the alarm button, declaring coronavirus a pandemic.
We have rang the alarm bell loud and clear.
And in Australia, the Prime Minister announcing that Italy joins China, South Korea and Iran on its travel ban list. Australians and foreigners with residency visas returning from Italy will face a 14-day self-quarantine.
On Tuesday, EU leaders will meet to try to come up with a unified response. But they won't meet here in person in Brussels with its steadily growing infection rate. Instead, they'll be holding a teleconference. The circumstances of this unique crisis continue to evolve.
As far as we have an expert consensus on COVID-19, it's this. Here in the US and globally, it's going to get worse before it gets better. We're seeing cases of human transmission that aren't from returning travel, that are just happening in the community. And we're seeing people infected with COVID-19 when we don't even know where the infection came from. Those are signs of an outbreak that's getting worse, not an outbreak that's under control. It's depressing, but it's not surprising. Global health experts, when they talk about the scenario of new viruses, this is one of the scenarios that they look at. We all hoped we'd get off easy, but when experts talk about viral planning, this is the kind of situation and the way they expect the virus to move.
We believe it will level off. We hope so. If everyone does their part, hopefully we will be able to get to the other side of all of this. Make no mistake, all viruses are dangerous, serious stuff. Make sure to keep an eye out for your older loved ones, your grandparents, your parents, those that perhaps have underlying medical conditions, immune compromise of some kind, COPD, lung disease. But in this country, we're not a country that lives in fear. We're the country that tackles problems head on. The facts are the facts.
This is not a basketball issue. It's not an NBA issue. It's not a March Madness issue. This is a United States. This is a global issue.
This would have been the 82nd year of the NCAA tournament, which had never been disrupted until now. That includes games being played during World War II, Nora, which was the last time we saw this type of mass sports cancellations.
It's almost just hard to believe, Dana. Thank you.
And don't nobody want their child to be sick, and don't nobody want to take that virus to their house.
Parents with children at Treadwell Middle and elementary schools are not playing around. Many wiped their kids down, and some even sprayed them with disinfectant spray as they took them home Monday.
I wiped my children's backpack down when I got them out of school. Sure did. Gave them gloves. Sure did.
Parents are doing this after they found out an employee who works at Treadwell Middle and elementary came in contact with a person who tested positive for the coronavirus in Memphis. Some took more extreme measures.
2 garbage bags. My shoes and came and loose. 2 sacks. Another sack.
I want to close here with some personal advice. Wash your hands. Wash your hands a lot. I know you already wash your hands a lot because you're not disgusting, but wash your hands even more. Set up cues and routines in your life to get you to wash your hands. Wash your hands every time you enter and leave a building. Wash your hands when you go into a meeting and when you come out of a meeting. Get rituals there based around hand washing. Sanitize your phone. You touch that phone with your dirty, unwashed hands all the time. I know you take it into the bathroom with you.